The Ashes of the Self. A story of a broken man rebuilding himself in the mountains. The wind howled through the mountain pass, whispering secrets only the broken could understand. Snow-capped peaks stood like silent sentinels, watching over a lone figure draped in tattered robes. His name? He no longer used one. Once, in another life, he was someone, a gambler, a man who chased pleasure, who clung to love only to watch it slip through his fingers. But that life had crumbled into dust, leaving only a hollowed-out man, standing at the edge of the world. A dog, lean and battle-scarred, followed at his heels, the only soul that remained by his side. The two of them, both strays, both lost, climbed higher into the mountains, where silence stretched for miles, where the weight of his past could not reach him. The journey to emptiness, his past, was a graveyard. He once had wealth, lovers, a name that carried weight in the underbelly of the city. He had touched the highest peaks of indulgence and spiraled into the deepest pits of ruin. Gambling devoured his fortune. Greed turned friends into ghosts. And love had been his cruelest wound. She left him when his pockets were empty, when he had nothing to offer but apologies and desperation. One cold night, after losing everything, he stood at the edge of a bridge, staring down into the blackness below. He was ready to let go, ready to vanish into the nothingness that had already consumed him from the inside. But as he closed his eyes, the dog found him. A street mutt, filthy, ribs jutting out, eyes full of something that mirrored his own pain. It simply sat beside him, refusing to leave. And so, for reasons he couldn't explain, he stepped back from the ledge. He walked for days, leaving the city behind, until the neon lights and the stink of regret faded into the background of his mind. The mountains called to him, not for enlightenment, not for wisdom, but because they did not care who he was. They asked nothing of him. At first he simply wandered, begged for food in small villages, slept under trees, let the cold bite at his bones. It was in one of these villages that he met the old monk. Breaking the Self. The man was ancient, his face carved with deep lines, his eyes unreadable. He watched the broken wanderer with an expression neither pitying nor welcoming. Finally, after a long silence, he said, "You carry your past like a corpse on your back. Are you tired of its weight?" He didn't answer, but he followed the monk up the winding path into the mountains. Life in the monastery was not kind. There were no warm welcomes, no words of comfort. There was only silence, discipline, and the crushing realization that he was alone with his own mind. At dawn, they meditated. At dusk, they labored. There were no distractions, no vices to numb the pain. And, in that unbearable quiet, his demons rose like ghosts, regret, betrayal, the echoes of his own failures. The old monk watched his struggle and said nothing. The only guidance he gave was this: sit with your suffering. Do not run from it. He sat, and at first, the silence was unbearable. The visions came in waves. The woman he had loved, walking away. The sound of dice rolling across a table. The laughter of men who had once called him brother. The taste of defeat. Every day, doubt clawed at him. What was he doing here? Was he truly seeking peace? Or was this just another way to escape? One night, he snapped. He stormed to the old monk's quarters and demanded answers. What am I supposed to do? Just sit here and let my past haunt me? The old monk stared at him for a long time before responding. You are not haunted by your past. You are haunted by the idea that you could have done something different. He had no answer for that. Rebuilding the self. It took years. The first step was acceptance. Accepting that the past was unchangeable. The second step was discipline, training his mind like a muscle, shaping it into something stronger. He learned meditation techniques that went beyond mere stillness. The cold restart. Each morning, he started fresh. Yesterday no longer existed. The cutting away. He identified the thoughts that drained him and let them go, one by one. The one hard thing. Every day, he did something uncomfortable, something that forced him to grow. Slowly, his mind changed. The gambler in him faded. The man who begged for love disappeared. He became something else, something quieter but unbreakable. And yet, doubt still whispered. One evening, the old monk found him sitting outside the monastery, watching the sunset. "Are you at peace?" the elder asked. He thought about it. "No," he admitted, "but I'm no longer looking for peace. I'm just trying to be here." The old monk smiled. "Then you've learned." The return one morning, he woke with a certainty he had not felt in years. It was time to leave, not to escape, not to run, but because he no longer needed to hide from the world. The old monk did not try to stop him. He only said, "Remember, the world will always test you. The difference is, now, you will not break." With his dog by his side, he descended the mountain. The city awaited. The past awaited. But this time, he was ready. This time, he carried nothing but himself. And that was enough. The final question. What about you? Are you carrying your past like a weight that keeps you shackled? Or are you ready to let go and rebuild?